Hello, everyone. My name is Kate Stallings, owner of K Creative Media LLC, located in Canton. And today I have Jim Farrell from PR First with me. How are you?
Great. Thanks, Kate. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on today. So you do PR, and I'm kind of curious to learn more about what that kind of encompasses. Can you tell me a little bit about your business?
Sure. Well, the company that we have, PR First, we've been doing this now since 1998, and we work with basically businesses and organizations, and we help them take advantage of coverage that the news media provides for businesses. So it's a very unique sliver in the overall scheme of marketing, and it's probably, of all the marketing techniques that are out there, it's probably the one that is the least used, and it's probably the one that's the least understood. Because the question that I will get when we work with companies is, well, how much does it cost us to put this announcement into a newspaper like they would expect an advertisement to be? And I tell them that the media coverage of their business in most cases comes at no cost because it serves a purpose, and that is that it is reporting, it is news that that media outlets are willing to include. So in short, it's getting the news media to help tell your story.
So there must be a lot of components to PR, because again, no one really talks about it. It's something where it's probably misunderstood a lot. What makes a good PR or press release, and kind of what are the components that make that full package for a great PR press release?
Well, a press release is what I often refer to as the first rung or the bottom rung of the ladder in a PR campaign, and it's an announcement from a business or an organization about some event in their business that the news media, they hope, will find worthy of publishing or posting. So the kinds of announcements, and I'll start by saying that a press release is typically somewhere, give or take, around 400 words in length. So if you visualize something that's printed off your computer and it's double spaced, it's probably goes on to a second page. So the kinds of events that press releases typically include could be something for a company like a new hire in personnel. It could be a promotion of some sort. It could be a new product, a new service. It could be an anniversary, a milestone. It could be industry news. It could be some event, like they open a new office. They win an award. Somebody gets the 40 Under 40 award from one of the local magazines. All of those are good milestone events for a company. And how a PR campaign works is that typically, whether it's done by an outside agency like ours or somebody does it internally, they would write the release and they would then identify the media outlets who would receive it, send it, and look for the opportunity to get as much coverage from it as possible. So what we do is we'll identify usually a series of opportunities for a company, and typically we tell people that a press release, the press release tactic for a PR campaign, you can send them out, and you should send them out fairly frequently, probably every 2 weeks to a month apart, because that then keeps that company's name in the news on an ongoing basis. So what I tell people to remember is that the press release is sometimes also called a news release, and that means that it should contain news, and it should be not promotional. It should not look like an advertisement. And when I talk to clients, I'll give them the example, like ABC Landscaping is offering rhododendrons at 20% off as an advertisement. But ABC Landscaping just won Landscaper of the Year award from the National Landscaping Association as a news release, and most media would be happy to include that. So the question I sometimes also get is, why would a newspaper, a magazine, a website, a television or radio station care about the news of my business? And for many of them, what they're looking to do is to round out the content that they find on their own. I mean, many of them have reporters, writers, editors who will look for the big stories. But all the stories of small businesses, the businesses that are, if you will, under the radar screen, they don't have the time or the resources to solicit that news independently. So they rely on outside submissions. So it's a great opportunity for a business to get its name out there.
Gotcha. And usually, how involved is a client in the process? Do they need to submit anything to you? Do they just come to you and say, Jim, I'm so green at this, I don't know what to do, kind of take it from there? Or do people have kind of a vision that they kind of, offer to you?
A lot of them do. What we try to make it, the lifting as light for them as we can, and by that I mean someone will come to us and say they have an event. So they'll say, hey, we're doing a 10th anniversary celebration. We want to do a ribbon cutting. We want to announce to the world that we've been in business for 10 years. How do we do it? And we'll talk to them. We'll find out what is part of, tell us about your company. Tell us about your accomplishments. Tell us a little bit about what you want people to know. And we will very often draft the first round for that press release, have our clients look at it, review it, and then when they're happy with it, we'll distribute it. A lot of times for something more basic, like someone has just promoted someone within their organization, someone just opened a second location, we'll talk to them, sometimes in person, sometimes over the phone. We'll get the information, we'll write a draft for them, and we'll send it back and go back and forth until they're happy with it. So we can do a lot of the legwork for clients. Most of the time we do. Most of them like us to actually write them. My background prior to getting into PR was I worked in the newspaper business. I was an editor of a couple of weeklies. So I had a lot of practice seeing what PR companies sent out and learned from what they did that I liked and what they did that I didn't like. But we always tell people, follow the newspaper, the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, why, to let them know. Don't make them guess what it is that you're telling them. Start off right in the beginning, talk about if you've hired a new person, announce the person's name and her or his position and the name of the company. Do all the important parts right at the front. And at the back end of a press release is the closing paragraph is what we call the about. And that's a description of the company, its website, its address, anything they want to put in there. And most media outlets will look at an announcement like this that we send, and some of them will use it in its entirety. Others will edit for space. So we always tell people that what we try to do is most important first. And if there's something in here that you can live with not getting in there, put it at the end, but get the important part out in the front.
Gotcha. And which kind of industries do you usually work with?
We work across a lot of different industries. We work with professional service firms. We work with like law firms, CPAs. We work with manufacturers. We work with some companies that are promoting new and unique medical devices. We have a company that's bringing a remotely controlled surgical robot to the market. We work with nonprofits. Anything and almost any company, even from a startup, a solo practitioner, all the way up to large companies. So, I mean, every company has some news that they can share.
Yeah, and especially during this COVID-19 situation, do you find a lot of these industries, of course, are all kind of in the same boat of, transitioning or pivoting? Do you find that that's been kind of challenging, or things have changed in the industry since, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it has changed. I think for a lot of companies, they were somewhat tentative about what is it that they ought to be saying. And they didn't want to come across being, in their words, tone deaf. They didn't want to sound like they were out there trying to hard sell their product or service at a time when people are worried about getting sick if they go outdoors. So part of what we've tried to do is to tell our clients, it's perfectly okay to continue to promote yourself. If you are in a position where you want to do something that's helping people, let's tell them. And whatever you say it, directly, say it sincerely, and say it with some empathy. We've worked with banks who have had to close their branches temporarily. We've worked with a lot of companies who have had to do things that they didn't want to do, and it's always a challenge of how do you put it out there, how do you say it, how do you make it seem acceptable, I guess is how I would say it.
Right, and I know that's a good point, because I'm seeing the same thing with marketing on our end too, is adding those banners at the top of websites and making sure that people are understanding that yes, we are in business and we're not too busy just to let you know that, which of course parallel to you is just letting people know without, again, it's all about value, and it's all about understanding the client's needs at that point. which kind of brings me to, I know you do PR, but are there other marketing services you do offer that maybe people say, hey, I really want to do a press release and blank, and it kind of pairing two things together?
A lot of what we do, I mean, anything that is either written or spoken communication, I would say falls under our areas where we help clients. We don't consider ourselves copywriters. So if we help if a client needs an advertisement written, we can certainly do that. But if they're looking for, New York City, Madison Avenue, we always tell them, you should go to somebody who specializes in it. A lot of what we're doing is employee communications, both internal and external. And that can be from management to employees who are perhaps hesitant, fearful a bit of returning to work. So this is, how do we let you know that we're looking out for your safety? And we'll talk with them about what's the message you want to convey. And we always tell them, remember that, especially even in this time where people are so nervous about everything going on, that this is the time when words really matter. What you say is important. How you say it is even more so. So I guess to answer I kind of went around on that, but in addition to press releases, I guess that's the other part. What else does a campaign do? It includes, we introduce our clients to media sources and say, if you're working on a story about this person's area of expertise, here's someone you should call. We also look for opportunities to get our clients interviewed in magazines, sometimes on TV. Our robot client that we told you about, we had interviewed on Channel 5 for a cutting edge segment. We look to place more in-depth articles, thought leadership pieces. Like in my case, for my industry, it might be 10 things you should know about writing a press release, and send it out to a lot of media to educate and inform, and to show all of this is aimed at showing a client's expertise, a client's knowledge, so that it positions them as top of mind in their industry.
Right. And so with PRs, how do you kind of measure return on your investment, or is it just kind of by people calling and saying, hey, someone saw my press release? Or is it just, because I've advertised in other ways where there's no real, it's not like Google Analytics can come in and you can see physically. I've done print before and a lot of other stuff, and it's kind of like, we can get you in front of this many people, 100,000 people. And, you believe them because, you're looking at saying that makes sense. Is there any way that people can start to benchmark their progress, or start to see kind of, or maybe it's a campaign that you need to do to kind of continue forward to kind of see some results? But is there any, I'm sure people ask that all the time, is how do you start to measure success from the PR?
Yeah, I do get that question frequently, and I don't have one specific answer. I'll tell you what I do say to people. I tell them, ultimately, you have to be the judge of, does this work? What we can guarantee that we can do for you is we can get you exposure. We know that we are very careful about what we send, what we write, what we distribute, where we distribute. So we know that with a reasonable degree of certainty, if we send out something, it's going to find its way online and into print. What does that mean for the client? For some clients, it's the visibility of the name recognition alone that's enough. If I would tell somebody, if you're going to undertake a PR campaign with the expectation that this alone is going to send your sales through the roof, I'd say add something else to the mix, because it's really more of a soft sell than a hard sell. And unless you're, as you and I both know, working in marketing, is unless you're McDonald's and you're sending out a coupon that says buy one, get one free, you can count the number back and determine it. For this, sometimes it's the credibility. A company that's looking to, PR can make a company, in a sense, seem bigger than it is. And I don't mean that it's dishonest. It just puts them out there so that people see them, notice them, hear about them. We had a client, I'll give you one example. One other quick answer. One company asks us to quantify it by taking all of the placements that we have and measuring that in terms of what would that announcement have cost if it were an advertisement instead of a press release. And in that way, you can measure what the dollar value is in the different media, so that over the course of a month, you might have something that comes to $20,000, let's say, of media. But it's not really an apples and apples comparison, because it doesn't always assume that the company would actually have gone out and bought that space as an advertisement, but it does show the dollar value. one quick example from years ago. We worked with an investment company that we used to place on Bloomberg and CNBC pretty frequently. These gentlemen were really experts in their field, and they were sought after speakers. And each time they went on, they were in front of 80 million viewers all over the world. And the business they traced to it was a press release we wrote about there having been guests on the show that somebody in a local newspaper saw, picked it up, walked into the place and hired them. So sometimes it works in strange ways.
I would say so. That's a pretty good story. And so if someone was, listening right now and maybe want to learn a little bit more about you and your business and of course your team, where's the best place for them to look? Is it email, phone number, website?
I can, if it's okay with you, I'll give you all three. Our email, my email, best one is my name. It's Jim Farrell. It's jfarrell, jfarrell@prfirst, prfirst.com. My best phone number is my cell phone, 617-429-7990. And our website is prfirst.com. And that also shows we have a lot of information on there about not only us, but how PR works and what it can do for a company.
Well, I appreciate you, and you've added a lot of information today, so I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed being on today.
It was great to talk with you. I hope I didn't go on too long here.
Of course. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you for joining.
Thanks so much, Kate. I'll talk to you again soon.
Of course.
Bye.